Dear Kshs, this is my opinion after listening to your recent video on the Uhuru apology to the nation. 1. There was no sincere apology. Once again we need to understand the true nature of the characters we are dealing with. It was correctly stated that life was lost. How? Were they trying to walk across Lake Victoria when they drowned? No. Body bags were carried to Kisumu. People were attacked inside their houses and dragged out. Later some bodies with bullet wounds were found floating in the lake. A baby was bludgeoned to death in its mother's arm. Uniformed and heavily armed men went to specific locations, targeting specific communities that were totally unarmed. I could go on, but we all know what happened. These men were under somebody's command. These were grave crimes that cannot simply be talked away. This somebody should not apologize loudly to the wind. When you wrong a neighbor and realize that you made a mistake, do you apologize to the entire estate? Avoiding to direct your apology to the aggrieved neighbor is expressing contempt for him or her. No humility there. 2. I heard someone still shamelessly claiming victory in last year's election. How do you solve problems with lies? How foolish are Kenyans? It is truth first, then reconciliation. Not spin and reconciliation. But ODM is not helping either. They are overdoing the Mr. President and Your Excellency thing, throwing caution to the wind. Yes, some cooks have gone into the kitchen. But so far, there is no smoke, heat, or aroma from there. Perhaps the cooks are discussing how to break the news that there is no food or gas. Caution. 3. In that speech, I also heard very subtle directions to certain impeding arms of government to cooperate in subverting justice. Interdependence blah blah. 4. I do not think that is going to be allowed back into the country, as long as he keeps attacking the handshake duo. Secondly, was riding on NASA's election protests momentum, which is slowly being drained by time and the changing political environment. He seems to think that people will still be in a revolution mood when he comes back. When isn't on the receiving end from the government, he is unlikely to whip up the emotions of any crowd. Should issue instructions from Canada now. Why must he wait until he comes back? As leader of a non-combatant movement, what does he intend to do in Kenya, in person? That he cannot do while in Canada. I am no politician, forgive my naivete. By the way, any news on his toxicology reports? 5. A peaceful revolution is possible. But how do you assemble without being clobbered by the undisciplined forces? My answer is the street weave. Don't go to the Uhuru Park. Go to the CBD, but do not assemble at any particular place, unless the numbers are unmanageable. Weave the streets, different streets, randomly, in different groups, until the town is full. Initially, do not make any noise. Don't even sing. Don't dress in resist clothes. Dress smartly but comfortably. Carry your job card if you have one, a CV if you don't have one. Have an excuse for being in town. Don't attack people or businesses. You cannot be arrested, for what? Let the numbers build until any army would be afraid, then occupy Nairobi till the despots go home. Why the CBD? Because the cops cannot cordon it off. If they do, it is as good as shutting down businesses indefinitely. Screening people will be an impossible task. At what time would the screening start? 5 a.m.? Won't people be late for work? Will the cops follow you to the post office or ensure that you are actually going to pick your shoes from the cobbler? The organizer only needs to pick a date, and if the people cooperate, the rest would be history. Method 2. I am not sure whether if we stop circulating the Kenyan shilling and start accepting cryptocurrencies instead, the government will remain afloat. I am no economist. Someone enlighten me, what if NASA zones opted to use e.g. Bitcoin only? Disclaimer, I neither have thoughtless followers, nor have I given instructions to be followed by anyone, deep or shallow, brave or cowardly. Just sharing my stupid thoughts. Since when were stupid thoughts a crime? In
response to the views that you have just heard. On a light note, you sound so angry but quite full, stomach. I choose to dramatize life. That way, I manage the endless disappointments, challenges and so on. You raise very interesting views. No idea is foolish. I have picked a thing or two. The pain among many Kenyans is same in Uganda, Congo, and most Africa. Not suggesting Kenya should not flourish to its potential but wondering how we can emancipate ourselves. While having our ghetto banter in Kampala, we envy Kenyans because 1. Kenya changes presidents. No longer stuck with a president. 2. Kenya has a better economy. 3. Kenya has a president who can try to say sorry to the country however fake the sorry may be. Our president perceives this as cowardly. 4. Kenya has devolution. 5. Kenya has a great number of senior politicians despite numerous assassinations. Uganda has a total shortage. They have either died or given up the struggle. We shall need to start afresh when M7 is gone. Always rebooting. 6. Kenya has had no military presidents, not suggesting civilians are angels. But military juntas have sucked Uganda. 7. Kenya has not had a capture by foreigners. Kenya's biggest problem has been tribal politics. This, to me, failed a country with great potential. Uganda's biggest problem was the militarization of politics started by Milton Obote in 1966. We have never recovered. I feel your pain about an apology that never addressed the transgressions, but to me, it gave promise. If Rao truly means well, he can start the negotiation from there for his supporters that dared the odds. Regarding the election victory, I heard and noted the reaffirmation. The speechwriter was laying emphasis. The most painful thing to me is IEBC will always be controlled. I think Ruto had set the system so well that 2022 would be a walkover. Thanks to the court rulings. Kilaba dilly-dally with servers, ACOM missives, we learnt a lot. Was defo riding on the NRM disobedience. Boycotts, protests, but he may not sustain such from a distance. Africans believe all the comforts reside in the West. So question is, how do you command a hungry man in Kenya to protest while he believes you are full? Sleeping in a comfortable bed in Canada? Of course Africa's middle class is so selfish, risk-averse, and so on. The idea of peaceful assembly in CBD sounds great, but mobilization? In 2011, after another suspected stolen victory for Besigye, he called on walk-to-work protests. I participated, but they were soon quashed by government. We went back and nursed our disappointments. We moved on. Hanging on hope. That is who we are. African presidencies are so powerful. We need to check that. About cryptocurrencies, interesting. But how literate are the masses about them? How accessible are these currencies? And other well-meaning senior citizens should help mobilize, educate a new generation of Kenyan leaders. They need grounding in history, philosophy, patriotism, and governance. The colonial concept that denies Africans original thought and ideas needs to be dismantled. But that takes time and humility from This could be through blogging, sharing literature and so on. Start think tanks in the counties, let young people question status quo and generate solutions to Africa's challenges. Prepared leaders will emerge. Devolution has great potential for a great future. The current swamp is so polluted. The fish may not survive. Best regards.
Those were very strong views from close Kumekucha friends, don't you agree? They remain close friends. The new Kumekucha mantra is friends debate and strongly disagree on the Kumekucha channel. Without being abusive. Until next time, this is Dave and Zira on behalf of Chris Kumekucha.